Okay, are we live? I believe we are. Hello, hello. Okay, are we live? All right, so my sound is working. Checked on my TV and whatnot. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm on in. Gonna wait a few minutes. Okay, thank you for the like. Welcome to Locs Talk Live. Hi, I'm Pammie. I'm just waiting for a few folks to come in before I start chit chatting. Hello. I see another person just came in. Say hello in the chat so I know who you are and I can say hi back. And please hit that like button as you come in. Greetings and salutations. So this week on Locs Talk is going to be a good talk. It's focused on the kind of questions you should be asking when you are selecting a stylist and or loctician or beautician or cosmetologist, whatever you decide that you call this person. You want to have your set of questions because not all stylists require a consultation, but as a client, you might want to definitely put in the effort to learn as much as you can about the person that's handling your hair. So this chit chat is going to be all about that. So welcome, come on in. Please hit that like button as you come in. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Locs Talk Live. My name is Pamela, affectionately known as Pammie to my Loc and Natural Hair Care family. I have been working with hair pretty much my whole life. My mom was a cosmetologist, so she taught me young, and I just got more into it as I got older. Something I truly love to do. I am a loctician, lochologist, and natural hair care specialist. What does those mean? Well, loctician speaks for itself. Loctician, I start, maintain, and care for locks. Lochologist, generally, I study locks. I learn the origins of locks, where they come from, different meanings behind them, different names for them, um, different origins, absolutely, because there are more than one specific place because there's so many different meanings behind them. And the Loc community is also an ever evolving community. So therefore, studying them is something that needs to be continued. We learn more and more about our hair. Um, the history of our roots was unfortunately taken away from us. Um, and slowly but surely over time, through learning our culture and our history and our roots within our DNA, we're learning more and more of what we're remembering. I'm not going to say learning, we're remembering what was taken away from us. And that's where my skills as an organic natural hair care specialist comes in because I identify as a natural hair care specialist because I use little to no inorganic um, ways of caring for natural hair. I no longer process hair like chemically. I no longer would color hair using bleach products. I don't use high intense heat on hair that causes severe dehydration and breakage and things like that. Even when I braid hair, I'm very careful about how tight your hair is braided because you don't want your hair braided too tightly. Um, because the one form of alopecia that is called, hey Lele, what's up, girl? The one form of alopecia that's caused by negligence and just doing the most is traction alopecia. Um, so you have to be very careful about that. Um, so moving into what I want to discuss here on Let's Talk Live tonight, I'm going to open up with the piece of advice I have post. I post video shorts almost every day on YouTube. Today's video short post, was a piece of advice. A question was asked of me: how does diluted ACV or apple cider vinegar make your hair soft? So I'm going to share that with you in case you didn't see it. Um, the reason why diluted ACV and put in a spritz bottle and spray it on your hair, the reason why it makes your hair soft is for this reason. And if you hear any background noise, I apologize. My husband is moving around and doing stuff in the house. Um, with ACV diluted in water, first and foremost, I want to tell you how to properly dilute ACV in water. Never, ever take apple cider vinegar and just pour it directly on your hair. That's not how it works. Please do not do that. To dilute ACV is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, preferably organic. Bragg's is a great brand. To 1 cup of water. Every 1 cup of water should be diluted. That dilutes 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. 2 things that will do: it will make the scent of it decrease significantly, and it also will balance out the pH level. And that's the whole purpose of the ACV being diluted in the water. Your hair has a pH level. Your normal hair pH level is anywhere between 4.5 and 5.5, which is below neutral. Now, plain water is at about a 7, which is neutral. That's what 7 is neutral for pH levels. In order to decrease the pH level of the water, you have to add an acidic agent. Now, there are other acidic agents that you can add to water to decrease the pH level of the water. But in this case, we're talking about the question that was asked about ACV in a spritz bottle with water diluted. So when you dilute it properly using the ratio that I gave you and you spray it on your hair, it helps bring the pH level of the water down. Okay, so when you add the ACV to the water, it brings the pH level down to about a 5, which is right where your hair pH level is. So the reason why it makes your hair soft is because it keeps your pH level balanced. That's why. If you find that you're moisturizing your hair with just water and your hair still feels dry and brittle, the reason for it is because the pH level might be slightly off. So if you're putting things in your hair that's much higher pH level and you're not using anything to balance that out, you're going to feel dryness in your hair, right? So that's why it's not enough just to use plain water. There's still a matter of different agents to use to keep your hair moisturized as well as soft. So moving on from there, I see that there are 4 people in here now. Say hi in the chat so I can see who you are and I can say hi back to you. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll cover them tonight if it's at all possible. So moving into the topic that I wanted to talk about, the topic, be your own hair advocate. What do I mean by that? It's important for you to know at least the bare minimum of what you need to know about what you want done to your hair. For example, if you're getting locks, do some research, understand the course of what locks are, what your purpose of getting locks are for. Um, that way, whoever you choose to serve as your loctician will understand the journey that you're going on. Because some people, they're in it, most of my clients, just about all of my clients, they're in it for the journey. So I provide a service, not just doing their hair, but I also provide them with the support that they need to navigate through their journey. Other people, they like locks because they just simply like it as a hairstyle. For some, it's a lifestyle. For others, it's a hairstyle. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, I'm not in here to say what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to navigate through your lock journey, any of those things. But it is important for you to know your purpose of your lock journey. So give yourself a little time, educate yourself some, understand how you need to maintain it, how often you need to go get it done. What do you need to do to keep it up to make sure that it doesn't get in build up and keeping them clean and not smelling bad and all of that stuff, right? So I do have a video in my Locs Talk playlist that talks about what you need to know before getting locked. It gives you a play-by-play, not a play-by-play, but an understanding of the things that you're going to need from um, the mental capacity, because it's even regardless of what you want it for, you have to have the mental capacity for the things that you're going to evidently go through anyway, regardless if it's a style or if it is a journey, right? Support system, if that's necessary, especially if you're going through it for the journey, because there are stages that's going to be tough for you. You're going to want to have that support, not just from the people in your life, but the person that you're working with who's helping take care of your hair. Um, you're going to want to understand what the journey is. So I give you uh, my annual, my analogy of what your life, your lock journey is going to be like. So check that out if that's a way that you want to do your research, right? Um, if you're going after the same thing, you want to make sure that you're ready for that. And most times we're not ready for it. It's like, that's one of those things, like, when you go into the pool, you got some people, you wonder how the hell can they jump in that freezing cold water like that? And they try to explain to you doing that makes it easier for them. And you're on the side dipping your toe in, like, I don't know. So everybody approaches it in a different way. So educate yourself a little bit to just give you the education is you dipping your toe in the pool to make sure that you want to jump in it first, right? Or what you're going to be getting into when you jump in. The second part is when you are selecting a stylist or a loctician or whoever you're going to be having take care of your hair, not everybody requires a consultation. Now, for me, with my clients, every single client, every person that's new to me, you can come to me already with locks. If I wasn't taking care of you, you are still new to me, and you're required to have a consultation. It's a massive necessity so that I understand what your hair journey has been prior to you coming to me, and how to move forward in a journey with you together, right? But not everybody requires that. And I see that a lot. I see it more so in a lot of, I don't know if y'all, well, a lot, maybe some of you were here, but others weren't here, where I talked about the experience of being able to be more communicative, like communicate with your stylist. There are people that will sit in a chair and allow someone to do all these different things to their hair. They're not liking what's going on and they don't speak up, but they have the courage to leave after they sat through it, paid for it, and even tipped the person, and then they go get in their car, they set and anchor their phone up, and they get on live on social media and talk all kinds of crap. So I'm like, well, they didn't tell me this, and I didn't know that. And this is communication that is very necessary, not just during your appointment, but before you make an appointment. So you know what you're walking into, you get an idea of things. You have something that you say, okay, we discussed this. So there's no, oh, well, I didn't know. Communication is very important when it comes to selecting the person who is going to be handling your hair. So if you come across a person that you're interested in seeking out services from, look for a number of things, right? See if they have references and website. If not a website, see if they have social media. See if they talk about their experiences. See if there are testimonials of experiences that people, because sometimes you see how they interact with the clients and things like that, and that gives you an incentive of what it is you might be expecting. Talk about what you expect out of your connection with the person that's handling your hair, because it is a relationship, a connection, whether you like it or not. Your hair is at your crown chakra. You don't want just anybody messing around in your head. So it's very important. So I'm going to go through a list of questions that you should be asking if it's not asked of you. Okay, so Layla, she's one of my newest Loc family members. She said she didn't agree with the consultation at first, but when she went through with it, she respected all good vibes and great advice from the knowledge. Yes. See, and you're not the first person that had doubts. Like, why do I need to do a consultation? What's that all about? And then when they do it, it's like, oh, definitely I'm going forward. I'm with you on this, because now they know what I represent. They have an idea. You had a clear idea of what my knowledge was, and you knew I knew what I was doing just from having that consultation. And you knew that you were going to have a pleasant experience because I opened that door for you. You don't want to walk into a place for the first time not knowing anything. That's the worst. That is the worst. And I definitely, referrals are great, because just about all, I say 98% of my clientele were referred to me. Hello, Donna Lee, how are you? 98% of my clientele were referred to me from people that know me well. They know my demeanor and how I interact with my clients and everything. But if you also know me, you also know that you can tell me whatever you want about somebody that you're referring me to go to, but I still have to trust my interaction with that person, because, again, it's still coming from another person's point of view and perspective of me. Now, I tell people this all the time. Everything comes down to perspective. I may be great for you, but not a right fit for the next person. And this is why a consultation is a requirement for everybody, even if you were referred to by one of my Loc and or natural hair care family members. It is very important for me to get to know you and learn your energy and things like that, right? So thank you, Donna Lee. I love you. Hi, Susan. How are you? I agree. It was so new for me. I was wondering why I needed a consult. Never even knew it was a thing, but I have no regrets. Almost 2 years now. Yes, we're going on 2 years. Donna Lee, yes, you are right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. She says she is the best. But don't bring no low vibration people. Amen. Amen. Y'all know. Okay. And they can stay way, way over there. I love you, but I love you from afar. So let's go through this list of questions. And if y'all have any other questions that y'all would like for me to answer, feel free to drop them in the chat there. Okay. So these are some of the questions that are helpful that you can ask your loctician, if they don't require a consultation and y'all don't have that back and forth, right? All of y'all are family. Everybody that's in here, say hi to each other. Y'all are all family. So questions to ask during your hair lock consultation, right? Number one, if they don't say it, ask them, what is your experience? Especially if it's locks. How long you've been a loctician? What's your experience? Right? That's important because I tell people all the time, and y'all can attest to this from y'all own consultations, anybody can do a palm roll. That's not what it takes to be a loctician. It takes a whole lot more than being able to do a palm roll or a retwist to be a loctician. You have to have extensive knowledge of locks, how to care for them, how to keep them properly moisturized. And there's a different avenue of taking care of locks than it is to take care of loose natural hair. I learned that very quickly because my experience with loose natural hair goes back years and years and years. But my experience with locks, I had to do an apprenticeship and I learned very quickly. And I will openly and be transparent. When I went into that, I was very arrogant, thinking I knew the stuff and I was like going to be the head of the class and all of this because I had all this information and knowledge of natural hair care. No, I learned very quickly. Two different things, not the same. Okay. I am doing well today. Peace and blessings, my sisters. I'm glad to be an addition to the Loc family. We're glad to have you too, Lele. Donna Lee, welcome to the Loc fam, love. Donna Lee, that's the goat right there. I love her. She's family. I'm doing okay. Hope you're doing well today. Palm roll, half is right. I've seen that so many times where people use a half a jar of twisting gel to do a palm roll, and now they got all of this buildup in their hair. So it's just a matter of proper use and all of those different things. So it's important to ask the person who is doing your hair, who's going to be working with your hair, what is your experience, right? And just listen to the details of their answer. The next question, may I view references of your own work? Now, what do I mean by that? In the past, I used to in my beauties in my days when I used to go get my hair done, when I used to set some time aside to go and some me time and go get my hair did. When you walk into the braid place or wherever, or even the barbershop, and the references on the wall is just advertisement pictures of different haircuts or styles and stuff. And you get to point at which one you want. I want that. And they're like, oh, okay, I got you. But it's not their work. It's just something that they ripped out of a magazine and they have on the wall. So that's not what I'm talking about, because anybody can say, well, yeah, I can do that. And then you get a version of, what's that? Donna, you know what I'm talking about. The advertisement where Wish. It's like Wish advertising that beautiful gown, and you like, oh, I want that, and you order it, and then you get it, and you're like, what the hell is this? Right. So advertising other people's work. When you ask for references, make sure that they're showing you work that they did with their two damn hands. Right? Ask. It's no harm in asking, can I see references of your work? That's why today having social media and platforms is such a great thing, because it's a place of advertisement. People get to see what you can do based on what you're putting on your social media platforms. So that can be put out. They don't even have to explain much of anything to you. I have so many different sources that people can go through and see my work. I have my website, I have my social media pages, and all of that stuff. So people see what I can do, right? So another question, very important question, but before I move on, let me look at this. Donna Lee, build up and look like yeah. Girl, they do. This be crazy stuff, right? They don't give you the burlap sack in the color you want. Right. That's what I'm talking about on Wish. Like, you think you get in this great thing, and all of a sudden this burlap sack shows up. Lele asks, what is considered too long between retwists, and does it depend on your texture? There's no such thing as too long between retwists. That's sincerely is really up to the individual. There are people that don't get retwists at all. They just keep their locks separated and they let them grow out. It's just a matter of the care and keeping up your hair. Like, before I did my retwist yesterday, I went a record 4 months and 19 days since my last retwist. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard for me either. I made sure my hair stayed washed regularly. I made sure that I kept my hair moisturized. I made sure I kept raking my fingers through my hair to make sure that my locks stayed separated. And what also helped was I learned that as my hair was growing out, it was bonding together by itself without me having to do retwists. However, there was times where I still had to keep separating my locks. So there's no such thing really as too long between retwists. It really comes down to the individual and what they're comfortable with. You know, if you are a person who needs your hair to look very tamed and kempt because you work in corporate America and you have to keep up a certain appearance with your hair, then I would recommend anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks between your retwists. Going beyond that, you're going to have a little bit of a frizz show going on. But if you know how to properly take care of your hair and tame that frizz, that's still not a huge issue. I do have some clients that work in corporate America that I only see every 2.5 to 3 months because, you know, they just can't come to me as often as they would like because their professions won't allow it. They have very demanding careers and hours. Lele, you worked in that field before, so you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of demanding hours, you know. So yeah, there's really no such thing as you know, too long between retwists. It all comes down to the individual. Donna Lee asked, I have a mini fro and if you don't stop, Donna Lee, you're a mess. So the third question you want to ask your stylist and or loctician is, how do you represent yourself as a stylist? Right? Now, again, all of you have had consultations with me, and that's one of the first things that I say to you before we even get started with any Q&A, right? I tell you how I represent myself as a loctician. My representation as a loctician is to go as natural as possible. I make it known up front. I don't do lock extensions. I don't do instant locks. I don't skip steps. I actually navigate and guide you through a natural lock journey. Now, do I have anything against any of those things? Absolutely not. That's just what I represent within my field as a loctician. So if you want to have bleach locks or lock extensions or instant locks, that's your business. That's just not what I represent. That's not who I am as a loctician. You know, so you want to know what your loctician represents. If they are, because there's some locticians out here, they specialize just in one specialty. There are locticians that specialize only in repair. Like if you see videos of people, they can have really decent locks, right? And you'll constantly see videos of people getting their locks cut off and everything getting started over again instead of them just getting a detox while the locks are still in their head, you know? And I'm the person that's asking, Well, I wonder why they cut those off. They weren't damaged or anything. I wouldn't go that far. Like I would do a detox to cleanse their hair if anything, right? Um, so for me, yeah, there's people that specialize in repair. There are people that specialize only in doing instant locks with extensions and things like that. And that's fine because there are people that are in the lock community that just want locks because they love how they look. They want the style, the hairstyle. Again, there's a difference. There's that part of the community that wants the style. There's the other that want the lifestyle. They want the journey. They want everything that comes with it in that sense, you know. Yes, a lot of people that are annoyed by extensions and instant locks, and I get it. But for me, I respect it. Even though I don't represent that community as far as me doing extensions and instant locks, I still respect people that choose that's what they want. The same way I respect people who choose to just get faux locks in their hair and they won't get locks at all. You know what? I think where the divide is, where people get annoyed, is because there are people that skip over everything and go instant, and they speak as if they went through the journey. And yeah, that part is it could be annoying to people, and I get it. The next question that you might want to ask the person that's handling your hair, the loctician or stylist: do you provide education to help me maintain my hair at home? That's something very important. I don't want people to come to me with their hair jacked up because I didn't tell them how to do their hair or take care of their hair while they're not here with me, because you can't be here with me 24/7. So you have to know how to take care of your hair when you're at home. It's very important to be able to provide you with that information and educate you with that so that you know what to do with your hair. And I can use this nightmare of a pandemic as an example. When this hit and people had to close their doors and not serve people, that was hard for my lock family. And it was hard for me because I couldn't do anything about it. I was helpless and I was helpless. And I had to figure out a way. How can I help my lock family? For the most part, most of them was able to take care of their own hair to the extent of at least trying to wash it. But even with that, they still didn't have the full knowledge of how to do it the way that I was doing it when I was washing their hair when they would come to me, right? They were still washing their hair at home before they came to me, like between their retwists, the best way that they could, and that's fine. But that's one of the biggest things that I learned that helped me to better myself as a loctician was the level of education that I give to my clients. It's very important for them to have extensive knowledge on how to take care of their hair, because I have to be realistic that I may not be here forever and they need to know how to take care of their hair. They might not be here forever. They might get an opportunity where they have to leave the state and move across the country. And shopping for a loctician is not easy. So to have at least the minimum information that they need to make sure that their hair is properly taken care of, education is very important. So I do provide that for my clients. You all know that, right? It's extremely important to educate. And, you know, there are people out there who feel like, oh, if I tell them, then they're not going to, what they need me for. Family, y'all are in the chat. Is my services just doing your hair, or is it more to it? Because people don't just go to get their hair done just to have it done, like, because they can't do it themselves. I've known how to do my hair my entire life, but I still enjoy going to get my hair done at the beauty salon every now and then, just to, you know, have that experience. So it's very important to have the education as far as how to maintain moisturizing your hair and keeping your hair up, and, you know, and things like that. Even doing little simple styles in their hair when they want to change their hair up between the time that they are coming back and forth to you, right? The next question you can ask them. What's Donna Lee saying? I know you're serious, honey. Lock extensions and instant locks irk my whole soul. Yeah, it's like that for a lot of people. It's everything an uplifting experience. Thank you. And that's the whole purpose of what I want people to experience. I don't want you to just leave here with your hair looking different. I want you to leave here feeling different. And I hope I accomplish that with each and every one of you when you come here to get your hair done. Like, you don't just leave here with your hair looking different and done. You leave here feeling different. Like, you're seeing the world through a different set of lenses than you did before when you came in, right? So those are important to me. Yeah, making sure that you're in a good headspace when you leave here and with the knowledge to take care of your hair until I see you again next time, right? So the next question that is very important to ask when you are seeking and shopping for your stylist or loctician and so on, right? I just feel like I just left and grow up too much, grow out. I just feel like I just let it grow out too much. Yeah, well, your hair is just growing, girl. I'm seeing how your hair is growing. It's more than just doing hair. Exactly. We have some really great conversations. The connections are fantastic, and I love y'all. I do. Susan, shout out to Susan. Um, she's always doing something to help me, like, with, because I have like a respiratory issue, and she brought me some natural medicine because she knows that I'm trying to heal it holistically. I don't want to rely on albuterol or no pump or nothing like that. And girl, it's working, so thank you. Shout out. Giving you love, all the love. I get therapy, peace, education on my hair, confirmation that I'm doing the right thing, and a nice hairstyle. Absolutely. That's what I want to give you. That's what I want to give you. Um, and I still didn't get to the next question because I'm just talking it up with y'all. So the next question that you want to ask the person that's doing your hair is, what hair products do you use? Right? Now, there's a number of things you're going to learn from this. Not only are you going to learn the different brands that they use, you can also follow that up with, why do you use this brand? What about this brand made you select, this particular brand? Are you particular to the ingredients that you use in each of the different products that you? That's a whole conversation. You just opened the door by asking, what products do you use? So that's another thing that I discuss with my clients, as far as what I use, what's in my stash and on my table. Now, if they're like, I don't want to use that, you're free to bring your own stuff. It's not going to change prices of my services, because that's not what's included with my services. My services are my service. The price is the part. It was explained. But it's important for you to know what's being used on your hair. So, like, I talked about my experience when I used to go get my roller set and stuff, and I used to just say, just get me a regular shampoo and condition and roll my hair and let me sit under the dryer and just wrap it. I don't want it blow dried. I don't want that stuff in the little cup that you come out of the back with and won't tell me what's in it. I don't want that. I want to know what's being put in my hair. So it's important for you to have that discussion with the person. All of you, I do your hair. Do I not still to this day? Some of you, I've been working with you for for years now, right? For years. And with that being said, I still tell you what shampoo I'm using, what I'm using now, what I'm going to be using next, and so on. What scent of refresher. I always constantly tell you what I'm putting in your hair. I don't want no surprises. We have no surprises. There's always going to be that discussion. No matter how many times I see you, I'm always going to tell you what I'm putting in your hair, right? So, so happy to hear it's working. Yes, it's definitely working. My wheezing has decreased significantly. I'll give you an update after a week of using it, okay? I let them know that I'm bringing my own stuff. If they don't want to, then I don't need your help. Right. And then sometimes there are stylists that tells you what they use because they make their own stuff. And for them, they also make it a requirement. You're either going to use my stuff or you can't be my client. And again, there ain't nothing wrong with that. A person can run their business however they going to run their business. You ain't got to sit in a chair. So entertaining or trying to argue about that, don't do that. Don't do that. You just realize, okay, this person is not for me. Move on. I see a lot of back and forth people talking about each other. Oh, I can't believe that person do that. I wouldn't do that. Listen, there's a lot of stuff that I see people doing that I wouldn't do, but I'm not fixing to sit here and bash and talk about what somebody else is doing because while that's not something I would do, they right for somebody. Do your thing. Because there are still people sitting their ass in the chair and paying the money and doing the stuff. So, hey, do you. Right. Don't want to be a guinea pig. And that's why even when I tell people what I use, I ask them, would you like to try my products? Y'all seen that in my questionnaire, right? I tell you what I use, and then I ask you with a follow-up question. Would you like to try the products that I use? You tell me yes, that's fine, right? I walk you through everything step by step. Exactly. Step by step. That I want you to be a participant, and that's why I communicate everything that I can to you, right? So, that goes into the next question. What we was just talking about. Hi, Vanessa. How are you? Going into what Donna Lee just said, I let them know I'm bringing my own stuff if they don't want to, and then I don't need your help, right? So I get it. So that leads into the next question, following up behind what products do you use? The next question after that is, am I required to use your product, or can I bring my own preferred product? That's a very important question to ask because, like I said, there are some stylists that products that they use is not a recommended product that a person can go and buy some of their own. Sometimes it's a product that they created themselves. They ain't gonna tell you everything that's in it because they don't want you stealing the recipe and all of that stuff. But what people need to understand is that when you create a product, you can get copyright of whatever you created. So it's known that that's your product and that's what you created. So if somebody tries to copy it, they can get accused for plagiarism and all of that stuff. So all of this secret, stop. Go through the right hoops to make sure that you are covering yourself when you're creating something. Then you ain't got to worry about nobody stealing your shit. It's that simple. But again, you have to be careful and ask those questions because there are establishments that absolutely requires you to use their products. And again, there's no law against that. You can either do it or don't do it. It's really like comes down to it's a boundary, right? Boundaries are not for other people to adhere to. It's for you to adhere to. So like if I say I don't do certain things, that's my boundary, right? For example, I don't bleach hair. Me personally, as a stylist loctician, I don't bleach hair. Can I bleach hair? Yeah, I can, but I don't. I choose not to. And the person be like, oh no, it's okay. I'll sign a waiver. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You're trying to find a way around my boundary. My boundary is I don't bleach hair. Now you can stay and don't get bleached, or you can go to somebody else and let them bleach your hair. I'm not going to stop you, but I let you know what I don't do, and I tell you why I don't do it. If you decide that you still want to do it, that's fine. That's your prerogative. You are allowed to do that because that's who you are. It's your head. But I won't participate in that. That's me enforcing my boundary. Either respect it or not. Hi, Rhonda. Welcome. Hi from Minnesota. Welcome. Thank you for coming. So that's very important to ask. The next question is, what is your availability, right? Is it flexible? Now, this is something I share up front. Nobody ever has to ask me this. My hours is 10 to 6 daily. 10 to 6 daily. If I need to take a day off, I pull myself out of the calendar well in advance so it won't even show as available to people. Do I cancel on people so I can take a day off? No. If you're on my calendar, you're on my calendar. So whatever I plan in advance, and I remove myself from the calendar. I plan according to dates that are available to me. That's in my schedule. Flexibility, no. That is a fixed schedule, 10 to 6. So if you have a first appointment at 10 o'clock and you call me and be like, oh, I realize I have something to do. Can I come at 8:30 instead? No. My schedule is 10 to 6. Oh, I know my appointment is at 10 o'clock, but I got here early. Can I come up? No. Sorry. I have a family, and then I have my time. I like to be well prepared and set up and everything and ready for my clients. So if you told me you want to come at 10 o'clock, prepare yourself to be here for 10 o'clock. Now, a few minutes, 5 minutes early, 10 minutes early, that's not an issue. But when you're talking like extensive time way before your appointment, no, sorry. And people are like, oh, that's not professional. Yes, it is. Because my customer service, I don't work for somebody. I work for myself. So I get to choose how I'm going to navigate and use my time. You understand what I'm saying? And not only that, showing up too early, somebody else might be here. And my appointments are one-to-one. I work directly, one-on-one with my clients. I don't need somebody else sitting here on my couch all up in their face. Like, you almost done? No, you early. The mall is down the street. Go look in window shop or do something until it's time for you to come and get your hair done. Like, I don't want anybody in my chair feeling uncomfortable because somebody's sitting there waiting for their turn. I time my appointments accordingly so I'm not overlapping with another client that's coming in. So respect of time is a big thing for me. And that's something that I discuss in my consultations so people understand. Showing up way too early is no. Showing up way too late after a certain period of time, and it's written in my website based on cancellations and booking rules and stuff like that. Once you go past a certain time, you need to reschedule because now your time might overlap into an appointment that's behind you. There's a late fee after a certain period of time. They were like, oh, well, is it going to be the same if you behind schedule? Yes. However, that never is. But if it happens, and it did happen one time because I had the time mixed up, so I was like 20 minutes behind schedule, and I gave a discount to that person. Because I was late getting started with them, and I gave them a discount. But outside of that, no. I'm going to extend the same courtesy to you that I'm expecting you to give to me. That's what respect is, a two-way street. Like, you give, you receive, right? So it's very, very important to respect people's time. Ask about the schedule. Ask about the flexibility so you know that in advance. A lot of people think, oh, well, I was early. She should be grateful that I came early so she can get done with me sooner and go on about her day. You don't know what your stylist has to do for the rest of the day or what they have to do before you get there and all of that stuff. So while it's a convenience to you, it may not be for them. If you book 10 o'clock, come for 10 o'clock. Don't be showing up an hour early and be mad because you had to wait until your actual time. That's like when you show up at a restaurant, you call in for a reservation for 6 o'clock and then you and the party show up at 5 o'clock expecting to be seated. No, that's not how it works. So it's a matter of respect. Just respect the time. If you know you're not going to make it or something else came up and you got to change it or whatever, then I'm just going to be a buck about it. That's a you problem. Don't start pushing the same way. If something comes up for me, I'm not going to expect you to change anything that's going on for you, you know, just to accommodate me. That's not how that's going to go. And I know there are a lot of stylists out here that's doing that. I've seen videos of people talking about how they've been standing outside the stylist place for 30, 45 an hour waiting for them, and they don't show up, and they calling and figuring out. No, that's something that does not happen with me or my clients. It's not, because it's openly communicated way in advance, so there's a clear understanding about respect for time, respect people's time. So that's leading into the next question is, what are your scheduling policies? So I just went through a number of different things. For me, I don't require deposits when people make appointments, but if you have developed this pattern of canceling on me, that's messing with my money. Now you've made it so you're going to have to pay a deposit. So you want to keep canceling. I'm not going to keep losing money because you can't make up your mind what you're going to do. So after the pattern develops, no call, no show, you are cut off. Don't ever even try to make an appointment again. That's not cool. It's disrespectful, and people's like, oh, well, what if it was one of those emergencies where this and something, such very rare that happens. Oftentimes, and I had two, no call, no shows. That wasn't the case, because same day, within the time they should have been here, you see them doing whatever on their social media, going live or filming where they at and all of that. So, no, that's not always the case. Is it a possibility? Absolutely is a possibility, right? However, that hasn't been the case. So just simply saying, I'm not going because you just didn't feel like it, don't do that. That's disrespectful. Stuff like that, just don't do. Don't do the stuff you don't want your stylist doing to you, basically. Again, it has to be something severe for me to cancel on a client. I've had to cancel maybe 2 or 3 times, and all of those times it was because I was sick, and I was contagiously sick, and I didn't want to make them sick. So I'm like, can we reschedule because I'm not feeling well? And they totally understood and rescheduled, right? But that is the family that I built with my clientele. They understand that I'm not going to just cancel because I don't feel like doing their hair for the day. I'm going to take care of you. You understand? Last question that I have listed here is talking about specialties and techniques. Like I said, there are some people, they have certain specialties and techniques that they specialize in, and that's what they stick to, right? Most of my clients are very natural in their journey. They don't want to do a lot of crazy, fancy styling and all of that stuff with their hair, right? While that's the case, there are occasions when they want to have certain things to, and Susan, you can attest to this. I styled her for 2 very special occasions in her life. She was a bridesmaid in a wedding, and then shortly after that, she was the bride. And I handled and took care of her hair both times, doing beautiful styles in her hair. She was gorgeous, gorgeous. So I do style. Is it something that I do often? No. But that's because it's not requested that often. Can I do it? Absolutely. And I practice it and make sure that I stay up with it, I personally, for myself, I don't like to style my hair that much. I like to keep it simple, which is why you see me up with this little sloppy bun in my hair. I'm not a fan of styling because my scalp can get tension, can get tender from the slightest pull. I just don't like that feel. I will style my hair for an event And I would sit there for hours styling my hair for that event. And you better believe when I get home that night, even though I spent all that time, I take it right now. That ain't staying in. Because I'm like, no, 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 no. And I even tell a person, like, when I'm doing your hair for an event, as soon as you possibly can after that event, take it down. You know, let your hair, your scalp heal from the tension of the pulling. Now, going into tension and pulling, like with traction alopecia, people think that you have to pull your hair stupid tight for traction alopecia to happen. You really do not. It does not have to be pulled that tight for traction alopecia to happen. So it's very important for you to understand that chill with the tension. Styling is great, but it should not be very long periods of time when you're styling your hair. Um, Most of the styling that I do with my lot clients, they like to do protective styles in their hair, like the 2-strand twist and the braids. Those are protective styles because it allows their twist to stay in longer without too much pulling and tension. Because when I do the 2-strand twist, I don't do it crazy tight. So that's important. Yes. And it was such a lovely time, right, Susan? We had great talks and stuff like that. Um, so that ends the list of questions that you can ask your stylist and or loctician as a reverse consultation, so you have an understanding of who you're going to be working with and who's going to be taking care of your hair. The next thing I want to go into is to talk more on. They were so beautiful, right, Donna Lee? She was gorgeous. I want to talk more on a question that Vanessa had asked me a couple of weeks ago, with stretching and styling her hair without heat. So she was talking about how she can stretch her hair out without blow drying her hair or anything like that. And I told her about this heatless curl rod that you can put in your hair. But there's other ways you can curl your hair heatless also. There's flexi rods, right? Now this is for natural hair and locks. You can use flexi rods. Those are easier to sleep in than perm rods. But perm rods make such a beautiful curl in your hair. It's just hard to sleep in them. So yeah. Another way that you can curl your hair and wear it as a style while it's curling and drying without you using heat is bantu knots. Or now what I'm commonly hearing lately is space buns. But they're bantu knots. They're just, larger. And then there's the twist out. It's like a flat twist that goes down the side, 2-strand twist that's flat to your scalp. So those are other ways that you can do a curl out of your hair, which is great. And again, getting back to the first question I was asked about using diluted ACV water to soften your hair. It's just a matter of decreasing the pH level of the water to help keep your hair softer, because your hair pH level is lower than water by itself. So that's why using water by itself just ain't the way when it comes to moisturizing. You want to put an agent in it, an acidic agent in it to decrease the pH level to help keep your hair softer. So even a few drops of lemon water, even a few drops of lemon juice in water will decrease the pH level of the water and help keep your hair softer. People would think, because of the acidity of it, that's going to dry your hair out. And we're not talking about massive amounts. Again, we're talking about dilution. So it's going to be like 1 part to 5 parts. So, like if you have a 4-ounce thing of water, you just want to put a few drops of lemon juice in there, maybe 3 or 4 drops of lemon juice in there. And that's enough. That's going to drop the pH level. You shake it up and you can use it. Rose water is the same thing. Rose water, the pH level of rose water is 4.5 to 5. So it's already at the pH level to keep your hair not only moisturized but soft, because it's almost equal. to the pH level of your hair, which is why I love to use my rose water based refresher spray. That keeps my hair soft because the pH levels are right here, right? So it's necessary to make sure that you keep the pH levels of your hair equal. So I am at an hour, but I'm going to stick around to answer any questions because I didn't really get to a lot of questions that was in the chat. So if you have any additional questions for me, I will stay over a little longer to answer those questions. Feel free to add your questions to the chat here. Space buns are the pigtail puffs. Oh, okay. I like space buns though, the silicone curler cups. Yes, I have those. I don't know what I did with them. This is not every day, Rhonda. I do this every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It's Locs Talk Live. I used to pre-record videos and post it every week. But now that I've gotten up the courage to actually sit here and talk live, I started doing it live because I want to give more time to everyone and be able to cover more topics. And when I used to pre-record, I used to cover like one topic at a time and spend a lot of time on that one topic. But I like to be able to expand it and talk about more things and be able to do Q&A afterwards. So no, this is not every day. In the future, I may do it more than just once a week, but for now, I do it once a week, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So you are more than welcome. Free, come in, subscribe, so that you know. Everybody who's come in, please don't forget to hit that like button. Are there any other questions that any of you might have for me? The next week, so I started taking notes. Of stuff that I want to talk about. Next week, I want to talk about do's and don'ts for maintaining your hair because there's still people out here doing some crazy stuff. I need the drive to even do content. Yeah, it takes a lot to do this for me because for those of you who know me well, know that I am an introvert. Like if I don't know people, I'm very quiet and subtle. I'll sit in the corner. I don't really talk much. But if you know me well, I'm very passionate about what I speak about because I love to talk about life lessons and stuff. And I'm going to close this live with another one about life lessons and growth and things like that because it's just, yeah. Vanessa says, this is my favorite day of the week. I look forward to signing off to go here and watch, to get here and watch. Thank you, Vanessa. You have been to every single one of my Loc Talks Live, and I appreciate you for that so much. I love you. Olea Goodman. How long do you recommend a protective style to stay in, and can it start to mend together? So I have had clients that put in a protective style when they came for their retwist, and they keep it in the entire time until they come back. The only time that is a worrying issue for protective styles to start bonding and staying together is one, when you leave it in way, way long like that, because most of the people that leave it in the whole time from one visit to the next generally is like an 8-week period. So that's the recommended amount of time for any protective style, whether you have locks or a loose natural protective style. The recommended time frame is 6 to 8 weeks before recommending to take it out so you can thoroughly be able to separate it and wash it properly and all of that stuff. Now with locks, when there's a protective style, and there's generally just 2 protective styles for locks, and that's the 2-strand twist and just braid plaits. That can be maintained and kept in and still washed while they're in. You know, it's just a little bit more of a challenge, but I don't recommend leaving it in past the amount of recommended time, 6 to 8 weeks before you take it out. So that's the best advice, because sometimes people think that they have to take it out right away when they put a protective lock style in because they're scared it's going to bind. But I always tell people, if you're going to twist your hair in a protective style or braiding in a protective style while you're between appointments where the frizz is increased and stuff like that, then you are running a higher risk of your hair bonding together because you have all of this frizzy hairs that's just looking for somebody to join up with. But when it's a fresh retwist, the frizz is tamed and down. So it's like you're just having two smooth surfaces working on top of one another. Susan, Vanessa, I feel you. I don't know why I waited so long, but I have a reminder now every Wednesday to tune in because my brain doesn't work sometimes. You know what? It's like that for all of us. When you spending your life, you are adulting, you got a job. So it happens, that's what I've had people inbox me and be like, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't make, hey, I understand. It's like, I don't take it personally, like, I ain't watching that stuff. Sometimes it happens. So like for me, when I really want to do something, my brain don't work like that either. I have to put a reminder in my calendar. I've had clients that reached out to me, don't forget I have an appointment tomorrow. I'm like, girl, I have all of that set. My website be reminding me when I have appointments. I have it synced to my calendar. Like soon as you put an appointment in, it goes in all of my calendars, the one that's on my computer, the one that's in my phone, the one that's on the website, everything goes through. And I look, okay. And I have a whiteboard by my door so my family knows when everybody's coming. And I always, every week, I put up there who's coming for their appointment. So everybody, it's like a well-oiled machine. Alea, I loved my 2-strand twist style you recommended. It changed my life. Right, it made it easier for you to not have to do so much with your hair, right? And you could just, even with having them in, you were still able to put them up with your head wraps and stuff like that. And when you took them out, I know you was looking fire. I know with your waves, right? Donna Lee, I tried to ride it till the wheels fell off, but once it started looking right, time to go. Yeah. So like if it starts looking kind of crazy, yeah, you do want to take it out. You don't want it to look crazy, but if it's still looking decent, like I saw Susan yesterday and I did her hair weeks ago and it still looks fabulous. She still has her twist in and they looking fire. Donna Lee, I started falling out of my moisturizer routine because it's so cold when I go outside. You know what? That happens a lot, especially with me. Same thing in the wintertime. I kind of fall off my moisture routine some. But now that spring is back, I'm like, what's that song? What's that rapper? It's spring again. I start singing it in my head. So I just, make sure that get back up on it. And you do realize when you start falling off because your hair starts talking to you like, if you don't get us some damn moisture in here, stop playing, your hair gonna tell you, So, Alea, 2 styles in one. Much love. Yeah, it is 2 styles in one because you're rocking it while it's in, but then when you take it out, that's a whole nother one that you're rocking, right? Susan, my 2-stand is still in and from February. Yes. That's what I'm saying. You had yours in from the last time I did your retwist and they still looking fire, Vanessa, I was struggling last week, but got back to using the refresher spray for the curls and they've been looking good. Yes. And it can be a struggle. It really can. But when you realize what's going on, it's something you can come back from. That's the good thing about having a moisturizing routine is that it doesn't take long for your hair to start talking to you and telling you, what else doing? We need some moisture up here. Stop playing. So that's why it's important to have a moisture routine because when you do fall off, your hair going to tell you quick, fast, and in a hurry, get us something here. Stop playing with us, But when you don't have a regular routine, you can go too long and now you're suffering through some major breakage and all of that before you realize, oh, damn, yeah, I don't messed up. So got to be careful. Donna Lee says, yeah, it be screaming at me. Exactly, because you out, right? So it's still cold in Long Island. I know it takes a little longer for the warmth to get to you. If there are any more questions, you can post them. Otherwise, I want to leave y'all with another message. I always like to leave a life lesson, inspirational message at the end. And when I leave here, I do a live after chat on Instagram if you want to follow me over there. Um, I don't cover everything that I talked about in here, but I just kind of, talk about what the experience was like being in here, talking to y'all and everything. And I want to thank you all for coming tonight because it makes it so much easier for me to have a conversation when I see people in the chat and I'm actually having a conversation. Um, it's a challenge just looking at a camera and seeing myself looking at me. But what made me comfortable with doing that is how I learned how to give affirmations to myself as well as self-checking moments. What are self-checking moments? Those moments when you always constantly pointing everything, every time something go wrong, you're pointing at everybody, but at the person that might be the problem. Self-checking moments. If you did something, not only do you acknowledge it and apologize for it, but you check yourself on it. Like, why? And yeah, I do sit in the mirror and check myself. Like, you should have did that shit right. That's just me, right? Rhonda says, is the moisture routine apple cider vinegar and water? No, the apple cider vinegar and water it can be part of the moisture routine, but I would recommend using it in addition to a moisture routine. It just gives you that extra softness. A moisture routine, simply put, is a refresher spray, a water-based moisturizer, which is what most of these people in here use as a refresher spray. Two brands that you can look into is Peculiar Roots, or you can go to your nearest Walmart and see if they have another brand made for Locs there, where you can spray your hair with the moisture. It's a very light mist. But moisture routine does not require you having dripping wet hair. It's just a light mist to put on your hair, and you seal it in, which is a very small amount of conditioning oil on top of it to hold the moisture in for a good amount of time. The ACV water is just a good way of moisturizing your hair to restore the pH level of your hair. Because sometimes people just use plain water to moisturize their hair. Grease and water, good old grease and water. But again, water by itself has a neutral pH level of 7. Your hair pH level is between 4.5 and 5. So it's beneath the neutral. So you need something with more of an acidic agent in it that's going to decrease the pH level of the water. So that's what the apple cider vinegar water is for. And not only that, an added bonus to using ACV water is because apple cider vinegar is a microbial agent also. So it helps keep you from forming scalp infections, and it kills bacteria and things like that. So that is very important as well. So you want to use that for that purpose too. Donna Lee says, see, I say if it ain't wet, it ain't set because of the color. Right. Wet and dripping wet is two different things, Donna Lee. You and I both know that. You don't want to be walking down the street doing a jerry curl dripping wet. You know how on Coming to America when they were sitting on the couch and they got up and all of the jerry curl juice was all over the couch. We don't need all that. We don't need all of that. But a good level of moisture. And moisture is also determined by your hair porosity. So if you have low porosity, you're going to need a little bit more moisture, especially a liquid-based moisture, so I can get in there and under those cuticles. Medium is the easiest because the cuticles are slightly open but closed enough to hold the water in. High porosity, you constantly have to just keep constantly moisturizing your hair. And that's why I recommend with high porosity hair, using something a little bit more thick in density, like a creamier moisturizer, to help hold that in there and keep it, You're welcome, Rhonda. I'm glad to be able to help you with that information. Donna Lee, you're closer to a low porosity hair, so you do need more in there. And then you got the color treated hair. Color treated hair also requires a higher level of moisture, because what happens is the cuticles and the porosity of your hair does change a bit with color treatment, right? So that is definitely a necessity. So the life lesson advice that I want to leave you with before I end this call and move over into Instagram is this. So, yeah, I put some of my growth spray on it so I feel it stimulating. So, um, one of the things that I realized earlier this week before I did my retwist, I had my first seborrheic dermatitis and or SD outbreak along my hairline, not quite in my hair, but like right in front of it. Because last week I had a bit of a stressful, unnecessary ass conversation that I didn't want to have. And the person kept trying to push the conversation, and I'm like, no, I'm not engaging in this. However, the stress of that had already taken place. Once that happens, the cortisol is released in my system, and I have to let it run its course. One of the primary causes for seborrheic dermatitis outbreak is stress, which is why I try to keep myself in a peaceful place. Make sure that, and I always tell people, yes, my level of healing is up here, but I'm still healing. And there are still times where a person will get to me, and that is on me. But that's behind me now. But always be sure to watch how you interact and what you choose to engage in, what you choose not to engage in. This is why if I say I'm not doing something and the person keep on insisting, don't put me in a place where now I'm coming at you hard, because then you're going to be taken aback like, oh my God, why is she talking to me like this? Because you didn't listen the first damn time, or the first few times I told you to stop doing that. And now that I told you to stop or reacted a different way, now you want to have an unnecessary conversation. Don't do that. Don't do that. And unfortunately, that resulted in me getting stressed out because I just had enough of it and enforced a boundary and water under the bridge. But watch your stress levels when it comes down to it, because that was the first time in almost 3 years. I've been able to keep my seborrheic dermatitis under control for almost 3 years. I treated it. It's gone now. So, yeah, thank God. But be careful about what you choose to allow to become stressors in your life and come in and put you in a headspace where now you're dealing with nonsense. Okay? Where I am in my life now is dealing with other people's drama and stuff. As bad as it sounds, I really don't care, and I don't want to hear it, because it does a disservice to me. It does nothing to help me at all. And if I don't invite you to share what's going on so that I can help you through it, because I know you want to work through it, I don't want to hear about it. I really don't. I don't. So yeah. Unfortunately, that changed the dynamic of how I interact with that person now. But at the end of the day, I'm at peace. So protect your energy, protect your peace, because it can affect you internally and make its way outward. And it showed its face with me when the SD came back. So keep your peace of mind together. Reading these last few statements before we sign off. Thanks for the chat and info. It helps with the journey. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you, Lele. You do as well. Donna Lee, and don't be like me and nervous tick scratching the scalp, because now I'm having consequences. Yeah. Well, when I do it, I'm always with the tips of my fingers, and I let my hair be an exfoliant for when I have to scratch, or I can do the weave pat. Yes, use the balls of your fingers. So with that being said, I'm going to say goodnight. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. Rhonda, welcome, and thank you for coming. I hope to see you next Wednesday when we have Locs Talk Live. Next week's Loc Talk Live, I'm going to talk about the do's and don'ts of taking care of your hair and or locks, products that you should and shouldn't use, and things like that. And we're going to move forward from there. Okay. Until next week, I will see you all. Peace and blessings. Bye. What did you say, Donnelly? Like the new trending song says, if protecting my peace makes me the villain, then call me that. Exactly. Yes. Have a good night, everybody. Love you. Bye.